Hello and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga Matchday 19 with Bayern Munich and Leverkusen winning in the Bundesliga. We have a great Leipzig, Leverkusen, and with Dortmund in huge crisis. You told me, Ronan, if Dortmund lose against Bologna, Sahin won't be on the bench at the weekend. Is that true?
That is what has happened this morning in Dortmund, or last night in Bologna. Even worse, he got sacked before he even got to get home to Germany. There's even talk that he might have to take a separate plane back. So not only he had the shame of getting sacked, he can't even travel with everybody else. He has to make his own way back to Dortmund. It's a sad day, but yeah. I was a bit too confident.
The Ryanair app, no, in the stadium, in the Renato Dallara.
Yeah. See, can he get maybe a cheap train back? Maybe he'll get a train over the mountains instead, just to avoid having to talk to anyone in the airport, maybe.
Well, poor Nuri Sahin, but the team is not working at all. They are so bad in the Bundesliga. They are 10th. So let's analyze this big crisis in Dortmund and everything happening in Germany, of course, with Ronan Murphy, with you guys. Leave all your comments to Ronan in this video. Press the like. Let's go on now with the show. Well, for Friday evening, we don't have an amazing game, to be honest. It's Wolfsburg, Holstein, Kiel, but could be kind of a safe bet, I guess, back in Wolfsburg. At home, lost to Bayern 3-2, but just before this, they were able to beat Hoffenheim and Gladbach. For Kiel. Ronan, was a terrible defeat against Hoffenheim because it was a key game to get out of the bottom three after that amazing win over Dortmund 4-2. This is the worst away team in the Bundesliga with only 2 points.
Yeah, the only thing I think we're hoping for from this match is perhaps lots of goals and an entertaining match, because like we always say when there's a Champions League week, the Friday game doesn't never tend to be that interesting or attractive maybe to the neutrals. So hopefully this one will be, because like you said, we saw Kiel earlier this season play out a thriller against Borussia Dortmund. So hopefully they can continue that trend of thrillers. So far they've had 3 games in 2025. They've had both teams to score yes in all those 3 games, and there's been 4 more total goals in each of those games as well. So hopefully more the same when Kiel play. Wolfsburg, they lost 3-2 to Bayern at the weekend, and they beat Gladbach 5-1 in the game before that. So they've had plenty of goals in their last couple of games too. So more the same, please. Average goals per team here, 2.2 for Wolfsburg, and Kiel have 1.4. If you look at the goal scorer mark, it's a bit hard to bet on an anytime score for Wolfsburg, because either Jonas Wind or Lucas Nemecha could start in attack beside Mohamed Amoura, and both are 2.15 to score anytime. Amoura is 2.12, and he obviously got 2 goals in that game against Bayern. 2 great goals from Amoura, show the kind of talent that he's added to this Wolfsburg side, but he can go games without scoring, so none of those kind of look like appealing prospects. Maybe whoever starts beside him, if you see the starting 11, that could be a better option than maybe Amoura, because there should be plenty of goals in this one, but it's too early in the week, obviously, to put money on the line for any specific scorer for Wolfsburg. So I think this is one where you can look at, like you said, Wolfsburg win looks okay at 150, but obviously you're looking for more value than that. Kiel have lost the last 5 away games in the Bundesliga, haven't won a league game on the road at all this season, like you said. So yeah, this is one that you would be confident Wolfsburg winning, but both teams to score yes looks good. 176, there's a bit more value in that. Wolfsburg over 2 goals is around the same 170 kind of range. That could be another option, but I think for any sort of value in this match, you have to look at the total goals market. Total goals over 3 looks kind of the best bet there, because 190 isn't too bad for that. Just make sure if it's exactly 3 goals that you get a refund on your bet.
46 goals conceded for Kiel is the highest tally in the Bundesliga, so it's always good to go for goals in their games. Saturday, Augsburg Heidenheim is the first game. Heidenheim now again in the bottom three because Hoffenheim won and they lost to Pauli. It was also a 6-pointer for Heidenheim. They started the year beating Union Berlin and the draw with Werder Bremen, but that was a really bad defeat. Ronan, it's not easy to go to Augsburg, usually better at home than away, but they are coming from 2 away wins in Bremen and in Berlin.
Yeah, it's a pretty good kind of run that they're on. They've won the last 2 games, obviously, after losing 1-0 to Stuttgart in the first game of the season. So a defeat like that to Stuttgart is not a bad result for someone like Augsburg. So I think they'll be happy with how 2025 has gone so far for them. Heidenheim, like you said, are very up and down, win, drew, loss. So yeah, they've had a bit of everything so far in 2025. So it could be another bit more of anything and everything in this one as well. Heidenheim won 4-0 in this match in September, which was kind of surprising at the time. But Heidenheim were kind of on a high after getting into Europe, so that was kind of a big moment for them at the start of the season. But I think both teams' form has kind of changed a bit since then, so I don't expect another 4-0 for Heidenheim in this one, obviously, and especially with Augsburg having both teams to score 0 in 4 of their past 5 games, and Heidenheim similarly, they've had both teams to score 0 in 3 of their last 5 games. So I think this could be a match that will be pretty tight, but Augsburg will probably come out on top. So both teams to score, yes, has only happened 54 or 52% of the time for Heidenheim, or for Augsburg, I should say, this season, and even less, 46% for Heidenheim in 2024-25 in the Bundesliga. So both teams to score 0 looks a good option here. 2.05. It's rare enough in the Bundesliga that we see both teams to score 0 being a better the higher odds than both teams to score yes, but this one looks like it could be a both teams to score game, and a narrow win for Augsburg, because the odds that were coming up on the screen at the start introducing this game, I think, look pretty good to back Augsburg to win this one. 193, 194, somewhere around that range. I'd be happy enough to take that.
Next.
Well, I think Edu has froze. The next game is going to be Borussia Dortmund, which will be an interesting one to talk about anyway. Then obviously the head coach carousel is the interesting talking point to Borussia Dortmund. We'll see who'll be in the dugout for Borussia Dortmund for the rest of the season. We have rumours Erik ten Hag was being linked, but I'm not too confident he's going to take the job, because he will be looking for a long-term job, and at the moment it looks like Borussia Dortmund are looking for something short-term to take charge and at the club until maybe the summer, where Sepp Hoeneß, the Stuttgart coach, could be on the agenda then in the summer. So someone's short term will be coming in, so that rules out the likes of Roger Schmidt maybe as well for Borussia Dortmund. Obviously they could pull the trigger and go for Erik ten Hag, because Matthias Sammer's huge friends with Erik ten Hag, but we have to wait and see who the Borussia Dortmund coach will be. But for this weekend, it's going to be Mike Tullberg, the under-19 Borussia Dortmund coach, is making the step up to the dugout for this weekend. So we'll see, can he bring a new manager bounce, and maybe he'll win 5-0 and they can decide to appoint him permanently. Welcome back, Edu.
Hello, Ronan. Yeah. I was asking you about the next manager. You were telling me, and about this game. Do you expect a bounce for Dortmund? I guess so.
Not necessarily. I think the results can't be as bad as they were, because if you look at that Bologna match, they went ahead, and you thought maybe this might be. I thought before I mentioned on the Champions League show, I was confident that they could get a win, because it was such an important match for Nuri Sahin's career that he had to win it. But after they conceded the equaliser, they just looked so deflated. It was kind of inevitable that the second goal was going to go in straight away, and that's exactly what happened. This looks like a team that had down tools, and they have been struggling through injury, with a lot of injuries, and Nuri Sahin had wanted a small squad so he could rely on core players, but that kind of backfires when so many players get injured. And we saw recently he had to play teenagers in defence against Bayern Leverkusen. So they still kind of have the same problems, even though they will have a different man in the dugout. They'll still have the same problems of maybe not having the same squad depth. And they have a strong 11, but after that, after you get to players 15, 16, you kind of wonder where the depth is. So it will be tricky for whoever comes in to turn things around. Hopefully they will bounce back with a result against Bremen, but I'm not 100% confident. So I think, Dortmund's 4 defeats, 4 games. I'm not saying it's going to continue, but I think Bremen can keep it close because they have been decent enough in games against Dortmund in the past. It was 0-0 in August in Bremen, and the 2 games last season were only by 1 goal. Dortmund won 1-0 at home and 2-1 away. So the most common result in this one is 2-1 for Dortmund, and the most common result is a 2-1 win in Dortmund for Dortmund. So a correct score 2-1 could be an option for this one at 9. Dortmund, they haven't kept a clean sheet in 9 games. They obviously didn't keep a clean sheet against Bologna either. So both teams score yes is obviously another good option here, 160. But I think Bremen can keep it close. I'm not going to say that Dortmund are going to continue their losing streak, especially with the players kind of maybe rounding around the under-19 coach that's stepping in. But I think Bremen can keep it close. So Bremen Asian handicap +1 is my main tip in this one.
Well, guys, tell me in the comments if you think this Borussia Dortmund can improve, if you think they are gonna beat Werder Bremen in the first game in the post-Sahin era. It was always difficult also to replace Terzic, not for the things he did in the Bundesliga last season, but getting, as we know, to the Champions League final was a huge success for him. Next game, very interesting one, Freiburg, Bayern Munich. Freiburg lost. They were thrashed in the last 2 away games against Stuttgart and Frankfurt, but they are still only 1 point away from Europe, and they've won the last 3 home games. Actually, at home, only 1 defeat this season, but not sure if this is going to be enough to stop this Bayern Munich 4 consecutive wins in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, this Bayern Munich team are creating lots of chances. They had a load of chances in the match they played at the weekend as well. The 3-2 win over Wolfsburg, and it was another game where they had lots of big chances missed, and they need to start converting these chances. But I think players other than Harry Kane are starting to step up a bit more, especially after that 1-0 win over Gladbach we saw at the start of the year. They had 6 or 7 missed chances in that game, or big chances missed, as the statisticians kind of class them as. So they needed to start converting them. They did it obviously in that game against Hoffenheim. They scored 5 in that one. Scored 3 against Wolfsburg. The defence as a whole has usually been better. Wasn't against Wolfsburg, but where they got caught on the counter. But Freiburg don't maybe have the same kind of attacking threat that Wolfsburg do. So I think this could be another match where Bayern Munich get a lot of goals, get a lot of opportunities. Michael Olise has been wonderful signing for them. He's creating 2.5 chances per 90 minutes, and only Rafinha has a better record across any of Europe's top 5 leagues. He has 2.6 chances created per 90. So yeah, if he keeps creating chances for Harry Kane and other forwards, they'll keep scoring goals. And in the last 15 meetings between these two sides, there have been 10 wins for Bayern, 4 draws, and the only win for Freiburg was in the Cup in 2023. So they don't tend to beat Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga, and they're not going to do it either in this one. I think Olise can continue to put chances on a plate for Bayern Munich's top scorer. He's really gone all out for the top scorer title again this season, Harry Kane, because Omar Marmoush, his nearest rival, is off to Man City, obviously. So Harry Kane, anytime goal scorer, looks good bet in every single Bayern Munich match that they ever play. 173 is pretty good, decent value compared to other times you might get it, because they're playing away at Freiburg, so that looks pretty good. Bayern are averaging 3.1 goals per game in the Bundesliga this season, so I think they can continue that too. So Bayern Munich over 2.5 goals. I like the look of it, 2.10.
Well, let's go to the next game we have in the Bundesliga. Is the best one this weekend. The RB Leipzig Leverkusen. Leverkusen just lost in the Champions League against Atletico de Madrid, despite taking the lead in the score sheet and despite playing against 10 men. But in the Bundesliga, their record is 8 consecutive wins. Now it's impressive. And RB Leipzig, Ronan, only 1 point away from the Champions League spots. You have to tell me, how can you lead 3-0 at Bochum and not take the 3 points? Because it's impossible to understand for me.
Yeah, I was thinking that we had picked an amazing tip in the show at Leipzig Asian handicap -3 after 23 minutes. It was 3-0 already, but yeah, they just collapsed, and I think they got a bit too confident in that one, and maybe the lack of experience that some of these Leipzig players kind of shone through in that one, because Leipzig, as we know, are a team that are reliant on younger players, and I think a more experienced team, like some of Bayern Munich, they're never going to let something like that happen against a team like Bochum. They will, once they see the first or second goal go in, they'll change how they play the match. But Leipzig didn't really do that, and I think that they kind of were exposed then because of it. And obviously, they didn't have Openda and 𝐿𝐶𝐶 in that match, and I said that they wouldn't necessarily be needed to score goals, but in a match that's that kind of open-ended, maybe if it had been 5-3, would have been a better one if 𝐶𝐶 and Openda would have been there. So they will be back for this match, obviously, but Leverkusen will be kind of hurting after that match against Atletico Madrid. They will be unhappy to have lost in the way they did. I think Xabi Alonso, he's not kind of played a match like that before, where they have that kind of dark arts that Simeone is known for using. There's no one in the Bundesliga that does something similar to that. So I think they won't be fooled again the same way that they were, because with the down to 10 men, they kind of lost their own heads a little, because Atletico knew exactly what they needed to do to kind of wind Bayer Leverkusen up, and it worked perfectly, and got Bayer Leverkusen the player sent off too, and they were able to come back into it. I think Leverkusen will be looking to bounce back in this one, because they were 11 wins in a row before that Atletico Madrid games. They should be kind of looking to heal the wounds with a win over Leipzig, a win over a very good team at times in the Bundesliga. But I think it's hard to bet on either side to do anything in this match, because it could obviously go either way with 𝐶𝐶 and Openda back, and Xavi Simon's playing so well. And yeah, I think this has been a match in the past with a lot of goals in it. The last 2 games have been 3-2 away wins. Leverkusen in January 24 and Leipzig this August, obviously. So the match before that as well was a 3-2, but Leverkusen won that one. So Leipzig have had both teams score and 3 or more goals in the last 6 games before tonight's game in the Champions League against Sporting. So they'll probably continue that streak. So I think this could be another match for both teams to score over 3 goals on the screen. Like you see, 192 looks pretty good, but I'm going to combine them and bet on either side and go for both teams to score yes and total goals over 2.5. Looks great value in this one, 248.
We should see a great game, this one, between two of the best teams in the Bundesliga so far. It's also interesting. The next one, strange actually that we have these great games at 3:30, and then we have Gladbach Bochum at 6:30. Mainz Stuttgart, I'm talking about both teams in European spots. Stuttgart doing better and better in this Bundesliga after a tough start of the season. They even beat Slovan Bratislava in the Champions League, so they have hopes to qualify at least for the playoffs in the Bundesliga. 5 wins in the last 6, 3 consecutive wins, so really, really in form. Mainz still fighting for Europe, although, Ronan, I don't know if after the defeats against Leverkusen and especially against Union Berlin, we should expect this second part of the season to be worse for Mainz, because probably they overperformed in the first half of the season.
Yeah, I think they did overperform. I think it surprised many. And maybe this is kind of a level that we're going to start to see in the second half of the season, but it still wouldn't be a disappointing season for them to kind of be a mid-table team again, as long as they a successful season for Mainz is usually kind of avoiding being pulled into a relegation battle, and I think they have done that so far, and they will continue to do that. So, yeah, it will be overall a successful season for Mainz, but I would be surprised if they are knocking on the doors of Europe come the end. Maybe close enough, but I would be surprised if they ended up in Europe. So, yeah, teams like Stuttgart will be kind of their undoing, like you said. It will be it will be kind of the test for them to see can they get results against teams like Stuttgart, because as you said, Stuttgart are winning in the Champions League and they're winning in the Bundesliga, 3 wins in a row already in the Bundesliga, including that 4-0 win over Freiburg at the weekend. So they're scoring goals and they have plenty of different players scoring goals. They're not necessarily reliant on just one player. So it seems like this could be another great option for both teams to score a yes game, because it was 3-3 earlier in the season. Stuttgart won both games 3-1 last season. The most common result, again, is 3-1 to Stuttgart. So, yeah, both teams to score yes could be a great option here, 162. If you could put in an ACA with loads of both teams to score yes games this weekend, it wouldn't be the worst idea. It never is for the Bundesliga, but it mightn't be the worst idea. I like the look for Stuttgart win, 240, but perhaps a bit safer is Stuttgart Asian handicap plus a quarter, because I think Mainz, you could never rule out Mainz getting something from this match. So, yeah, Stuttgart Asian handicap minus a quarter is 207.
Great game. This one, 3 great games actually at 3:30, and then we have Gladbach Bochum with really high odds actually to back Gladbach 1.8. Probably Ronan is because they are coming from 3 consecutive defeats and they are in bad form. And well, Bochum, we can say they are okay, no? Grabbing 4 points, beating Pauli, and that draw against Leipzig anyway. I would never trust Bochum.
No, I would never trust Bochum. Myron Boadu obviously scored a hat-trick in that game against Leipzig. One of those German hat-tricks where it's all in the same half and not broken up by the half-time whistle. So it was one of those. It was a real hat-trick rather than 3 goals as they count in Germany. But yeah, Gladbach, they tend to win this match against Bochum. They've won all the last 4 meetings, all by 2 or more goals. They won 2 away in August earlier this season. Obviously, 2025, they've got off to a bad start, 3 losses. But if you look at them, the teams they've played, they have been tricky enough teams. They've lost to Bayern and Leverkusen as well as Wolfsburg. So they've had a tricky kind of fixture list to get things going in 2025. So this should be the match where they turn it around. Bochum are 2 games without defeat, which is a great run for them. Beating Pauli and drawing with Leipzig is obviously very good start to 2025, but things could get pretty tricky for Hecking and Bochum for the rest of the season. So, yeah, this could be a difficult one for them. But I would fancy that this is another both teams to score yes game. Most common result is 2-2, the same in Gladbach. So both teams score yes. It's another option again in this one. I'm saying it in almost every game, apart from 1 so far. But yeah, Gladbach have won 7 times this season. They haven't won yet in 2025, but they've won 7 times in the Bundesliga this season. So I think this will be the 8th. So, like you said, introducing it, the odds on to back Gladbach to win look pretty good. So that's exactly what I'm going for.
Indeed. Well, and the 2 games we have on Sunday, Hoffenheim, Eintracht Frankfurt, with both teams playing Europa League on Thursday. Hoffenheim got a key win against Kiel to stay out of the bottom 3. It was the first win in 6 games, and Frankfurt keep winning and winning. Now they've got 3 consecutive wins with or without Marmoush. Now, of course, life begins without.
Yeah, life begins exactly, and I think we saw it last week. They were able to get on and continue without him, and the player that they've kind of looked to do that is 𝐬𝐭𝐿. He's now up to 9 league goals for the season. He scored in the last 2 games, so he will be the kind of key man. They obviously are shopping around for a replacement for Marmoush, and they've got so much money from Man City that they can see exactly who they want. So they've been linked with a number of players, so we'll see who to bring in there. But 𝐬𝐭𝐿 himself has been an excellent addition to the team, coming in from PSG on a permanent deal after being on loan, and he's kind of stepped up a little this season. So I think he can be a key man up front. They will obviously miss Marmoush. Marmoush is a different class, and I think we will see that for Man City in the Premier League. I think he won't. He's probably far too expensive, but that's what happens when you're Man City. You just pay a lot of money and you pay a lot of wages. But I think he will get goals for Man City. I think he will be a very good player for them, and he will give them a different option in an attack alongside or instead of Erling Haaland. I think he'll give them a plan B and maybe a plan C for Pep Guardiola that maybe he's been missing since Julian Alvarez left the club. So yeah, he's going to be a miss for the Bundesliga, but we will get on without him. So the other transfer story around this one is Tom Bischoff, the Hoffenheim midfielder. He's agreed to join Bayern Munich in the summer, so that was announced this week. And you wonder, will that be a distraction for him because he's created so many chances? Lamine Yamal has created more chances among teenagers in the big 5 leagues in Europe, 30, and Bischoff has 29 for Hoffenheim. So he is a key player for them. You just wonder, will he be distracted now once he has agreed that move to Bayern Munich in the summer? I think this is another match where Frankfurt should be confident of winning because Hoffenheim have been very up and down, whereas Frankfurt are pretty consistent. The last 3 games between the sides have all been 3-1 wins for Frankfurt. The game before that was 3-1 to Hoffenheim, actually, and all the last 10 games between the two sides were both teams to score yes. So Hoffenheim won 3-1 last weekend. Frankfurt won by 2 goals last weekend. So correct score 1-3 is one of these dark horse options I like. This is 16 in this one. Frankfurt draw no bet looks pretty good at 165. 𝐿𝐭𝐿, like I said earlier, he is the kind of player that Frankfurt will rely on until they bring in the new forward to go alongside him. He's averaging 3.73 shots per 90, so anytime goal scorer for him is 263. But my main tip on the screen is Hugo 𝐿𝐭𝐿 over 1.5 shots on target. Worked last week very well for Patrick Schick, so we'll double down and do the same for 𝐿𝐭𝐿 this week.
Nice, very good odds, 2.75 against a team that is conceding a lot of goals, 35 goals conceded, Hoffenheim, in this Bundesliga. And the final game in Hamburg is St. Pauli, Union Berlin, 2 teams that want to get out of the danger zone. Now, St. Pauli 3 points away from Heidenheim, Union Berlin 5, because both are coming from important wins. Union Berlin against Mainz and St. Pauli against Heidenheim.
Yeah, this is a kind of a big match in both team seasons, and I think Union got the upper hand earlier this season. They won 1-0 earlier this season. That's also the most common result in this match is a 1-0 win for Union Berlin. But both sides, they started 2025 with 2 defeats and that they've won. So yeah, they kind of need to keep picking up points where they can, and this will be a kind of a close affair, you would imagine, because games with Union Berlin tend to be close matches. The average goals by these teams are 0.8 for St. Pauli, 0.9 for Union Berlin. So both teams to score no again. I'm bringing that one back just again for a rarity in this one, 191. Both teams to score no. Total goals under 225 is a slightly better odds at 198. Both teams have 5 wins this season, but Union has 2 more draws, so I'm going for Union Berlin draw no bet here, 213.
Wow, well, it's one of the worst home team with 5 points. St. Pauli against Union Berlin, only 1 win away this season. This is it for this weekend in the Bundesliga. As always, I encourage you to win some money or to try to win some money with our tipster competitions. There you go. You can see all our offer and the money that you can get from every competition. This is the monthly one in January, and now we have a Portuguese guy in front. It changed recently since we had Dejan, and also Rivals, the opportunity to create your own tipster competition and play with your friends or join a contest that is already created. Ronan, safe bet?
My safe bet this week is Leipzig and Leverkusen. Both teams to score, yes, 156.
And the ACA?
My ACA, like I said earlier, I'm going for a few both teams to score games, as well as Bayern Munich, a lot of goals in that one. So Leipzig and Leverkusen and Dortmund and Bremen, both teams to score, yes, as well as Freiburg and Bayern, total goals over 2.75 for a total of 377.
All right. Well, let's enjoy this set of games in the Bundesliga. We were quite successful, actually, in the Champions League on Tuesday. In general, so let's try. You had a lot of faith in the German teams, Ronan, though. So let's see how this goes in the Bundesliga. Thank you, Ronan. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.